Shalom and welcome to Questions and Answers with Rabbi Eric T. Today's question comes from Timothy, and Timothy's question is concerning the rapture or the calling away of the body of Messiah or the bride of Messiah. But his question isn't, is there a rapture, but more so, when will it happen? There are different beliefs. There are those who believe in pre-tribulation rapture. There's those that believe in mid-trib or post-trib or pan-trib or tri-trib. Pan-trib is whenever it happens, it'll all pan out, and tri-trib is whenever it happens, I'm going to try to be there. But where does this happen, and how do we as believers look at this? Well, to answer your question, and this is not going to satisfy everybody or make everybody happy, but this is my thoughts, my understanding from the scripture, is that the Bible teaches what I would term post-tribulation, pre-wrath return of Yeshua. Now, when we talk about the rapture, many people think of that in terms of rising to meet him in the air, as if we're all just going to float up in the air. And that discussion will happen on a future video because I don't believe that's actually what the Bible is teaching. But I will say this, the reason I don't believe in a pre-tribulation rapture or a pre- or mid-tribulation calling away of the body of Messiah is that it's a difficult message to preach in most of the rest of the world. Just think about how you would preach. Don't worry, folks. Before everything gets really bad, before we see the things that talked about in the book of Revelation, before people are getting beheaded, before they're being murdered for their faith, tell me how you're going to preach that message to Egyptian Christians who are being killed, or Syrian Christians who are being killed, or others in Africa that are being killed, or Central and South America that are being killed for their faith. And how do you just tell a Lebanese Christian who's being murdered because he's a believer in Yeshua, or one of the people ISIS were murdering just a few years ago, and even recently when they were putting them in cages and drowning them or beheading them slowly in front of their family, how do you express to them, don't worry guys, before things get bad, Yeshua will come back and take us out of here? The reason I don't believe in a pre-rapture or a mid-calling away, or whichever terminology you want to use, is because we're experiencing things all over the world that are the things that are described in the book of Revelation. The book of Revelation is coming alive in front of our eyes, and we're seeing the things that were prophesied in Isaiah and Ezekiel and other places that are happening right around us. The problem is that as Americans, we largely look at the Bible as if America was a central focus of the scriptures, and if it's not happening in the United States, then it's not happening. But the reality is that the Bible was not written about the United States. It was written about Israel and the areas right around Israel. And you would be hard-pressed to convince believers in the Middle East that their lives are not dealing with the kind of tribulation that is spoken of in the book of Revelation and other prophetic books. So I believe, just as in the time of Lot, that just before the destruction came, just before God's wrath fell, that Sodom and Gomorrah were destroyed. Now, there was tribulation before that. Just think about how Lot's daughters were being treated and what was going on there. Just like with Noah, and these are the stories, these are the events that were told, just like it was in the days of Lot, just like it was in the days of Noah. Noah's whole world was tribulation. There was violence all over the world, so much so that God was destroying the world because of it. But Noah and his family get on the ark just before the wrath of God falls. But you would be hard-pressed to describe what Noah went through as not being tribulation, as not being a difficult season and experience. So as it was in the days of Lot, and as it was in the days of Noah, and as it is today in much of the world, in this world you shall have tribulation, but be of good cheer, I have overcome the world. That's the hope that we have to hold on to. And at some point in time, Yeshua is going to return, and we will then meet him and go to the place that he's prepared. Thank you for watching. I hope that this has been a blessing to you. If it has, I hope you'll hit the subscribe button, the share button, and that way you'll not only be able to share this with other people, but when a new video comes out, you'll be notified about it. And also, if you have a question that you would like answered, email me at RabbiEricT@britam.org, and I'll answer it in an upcoming video. Thank you, and shalom.